Lindsay Simon versus Michael Enix.
For the record, this matter is before the court. I'd like to propose a motion to set aside the order of this court of January 23rd, 2024. This hearing is being conducted via Zoom. Present is Attorney Eric Chappell, representing and with the plaintiff, Mother Lindsay Simon. In addition, Michael Enix, defendant father, is present, and Attorney Land Stephen Jednick is present. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I don't see any need for the parties to meet with the front of the court this afternoon unless there's an issue that needs to be discussed. Now, this court would, first of all, and I'll listen to the parties in a moment, but this court, the record has tried, has admittedly exercised drastic action trying to get Hunter just to have contact with his father. We've done month off, month on, week off. On the order of December 20th, 2023, going back to December, father was awarded parenting time Christmas Day until review on February 14th, today's date. That did not work. Hunter would not get out of mom's vehicle, would not have any contact with dad. So that caused the guardian Jednick to file a motion with this court, which he did on January 12th, asked the court to review this prior to the review of February 20th, because nothing was going to change. So this court, I believe, heard the matter on January 23rd. It made sense. Nothing was changing. Nothing was happening. So the court reviewed it on January 23rd and entered admittedly a drastic form of action in terms of ordering that mother bring Hunter to court. Mother has followed the directions of the court. She has done that. And Hunter will not get out of her vehicle. Perhaps it's creating more problems, unfortunately. So without argument, necessity of argument, the court will, in fact, first of all, set aside the order of this court to enter January 23rd, 2024. That no longer is in the best interest of a minor child. In addition, the court will order that mother enroll Hunter in virtual school, presumably with Bedford schools, if they will permit that.
Why?
The court, sir, don't interrupt, Mr. Enix. I will let you talk when I call upon you. Do not interrupt. Finally, I will set a review. We'll talk about a review date shortly, sometime in April. And the court's going to order, and I'm open to any suggestions, that the court is going to order that there be an evaluation of Hunter. And the court would suggest that the parties consider University of Michigan Mott Children's Hospital to be initiated by the plaintiff's mother. It needs to be a full, and not an MD. We need a specialist that somebody can do this. There's a disagreement between medical professionals whether or not Hunter is suffering from pandas or something else. He clearly has some deep-rooted psychological issues and problems in life. Won't even go to school, even though he's been assured that father will not pick him up. He will not have contact with his father. There's no rhyme or reason for him to be afraid of his father. It's really unfortunate that mom couldn't just invite dad over to the house to have a cup of coffee and sit with Hunter, with the understanding that he's not going to leave Hunter. But obviously these parents, unfortunately, cannot co-parent to this child, to the detriment of this child. So with that, I'm going to first talk on Mr. Jednick. Do you have any further recommendations in terms of Hunter needs treatment? And the court has read your most recent updated report, and I appreciate your involvement, your efforts in this case. But everything court's tried to date has not worked. So we need, I think, a full psychological evaluation of Hunter by a qualified person at some facility, whether it's out of state or whether it's at University of Michigan Mott's Hospital. But the court recalls at one time Ms. Simon had an appointment at Mott's Hospital, but Mr. Simon and Mr. Enix had a problem with that. Never. So this court's going to make a determination. So even though they got joint legal, the court's not going to let anyone stand in the way of the treatment that this child needs in evaluation. So, Mr. Jednick, is there anything you want to add first before I open it to Mr. Chaplin and Mr. Enix?
No, the court hit the highlights in my motion. And I guess the question is, while we're waiting for this evaluation to occur, or the court get information on it, are we going to keep making attempts at parenting time? I think that's futile until we get more information. I asked the court to reserve parenting time.
I don't think in order for parenting time to work. So it's futile. Anything else you want to add, Mr. Jednick?
Well, second, the disagreement between the parties, and this is going to get into the specialist and evaluation, is there's a incredible disagreement about the pandas diagnosis that mom has obtained. And of course, dad has very strong feelings about that diagnosis. So there's going to be a battle of specialists. So, I mean, I welcome and invite mom to identify a specialist, get a consultation, get that information to the court. So Mr. Enix has opportunity to see it, and I'd like to see it and determine if that's the best course of action. But we do need to move forward, and I do want to put that mom in the driver's seat on that, because Hunter is likely to go with mom to these appointments, and that's the only way we're going to move forward. So I want to give her that discretion, provided she gets that information to the court.
All right, thank you. Mr. Chappell.
Your Honor, I thought Mr. Jednick's suggestion relative to the medical treatment was very appropriate relative to before anything actually is implemented, that a Lombardo hearing would take place. That way, we could then, the parties will have the opportunity to make any arguments that they want to make relative to the suggested course of treatment. That way we can at least move the ball down the field. So I think that suggestion was very wise, and we'd ask that that be part of it as well, so that we understand the charge is that Ms. Simon will investigate the options and then present them to the court. But before anything happens, then the court will have the ability to weigh in on it and make a decision.
Where will Miss Simon begin? Will she go back to University of Michigan Mott's Hospital?
That's one possibility, Your Honor. I think it'll be a matter of getting them in and being able to get them in, and finding a person who can do the evaluation.
Perhaps the council can assist. I mean, we need to move on this quickly. We can't wait till next month to start thinking about it. Miss Simon needs to. I thought I saw where someone suggested that she already had some contacts out in Pennsylvania, another state. But it seems like University of Michigan Mott's Hospital is certainly an appropriate place. It's close to home. So I don't know if you can provide any assistance to that. Does Miss Simon have any plans or where she's going to start with this?
Yeah, he had treated down at a place in the Columbus area.
Absolutely.
I'm sure we will be chatting with them as well. But again, this is why I think Mr. Jednick's suggestion makes a lot of sense. We don't have to argue today about what the suggested course of treatment is. We only have to, we understand that we'll be identifying, here's what we believe should happen. And obviously for a full evaluation as the court has ordered. And if there's disagreement about it, then, we'll argue about it at that time when the information is presented.
As Miss Simon hopes she's not going to go back to the same doctors there needs to be a specialist, not just some general MD that claims that's familiar with pandas. So I am hoping she can move forward, and then the court believes it should be a facility that employs specialists. So perhaps she can go online and reach out to other doctors and find a specialist in this field.
And we can assist in that regard as well, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Enix.
Yes, sir. So this has been going on for a number of years now.
Courts are well aware of that.
I would like to
very well aware of this case, Mr. Enix.
Okay, well, we're not then, because the very first place that Ms. Simon went was the University of Michigan Medical Center to seek out this pandas treatment in the very beginning. They denied her. They told her to go to the Mott Center to have psychological examinations done on Hunter. She never completed that. She then sought out Sancta Familia in Columbus. Okay, after her pediatrician and everything all said pandas wasn't a thing. Okay, then she hand selected Dr. Jara, who you court ordered us to see, who then has him and the court ordered neurologist Dr. Nagel both have listed and signed their name to papers that say they are concerned that Miss Simon suffers from Munchausen by proxy. That's never been addressed. That's been allowed to continue. So then once that happened, she sought out pediatric place Cleveland, and that was her specialist. She does all that without any knowledge. No PCP has ever brought up pandas, and that's the only thing that she has sought out. I've asked this court numerous times now to please get my son's psychological evaluation for years now, and we haven't done that. Now, on top of that, if all of what they're saying about my son's mental state is true, why has he not seen his therapist, Mr. Poling, since December 18th? If he is having such mental breakdowns to the point where things are going on, why is he not seeing a child psychologist? I just left my psychologist, Dr. Sislow, and he has the same questions I have. that if this is continuing to go on and the only thing she's pursuing is pandas, but she doesn't pursue a psychological exam for my child this whole time, what I've located right in Lambertville, Michigan, there's a child psychologist through Mercy who is very well rated, very good, takes his insurance, can get him in, can do all of that. He could call there today and schedule an appointment with him. But I would like to, if we're going to do this, that you set forth that it needs to be the University of Michigan Medical Center and the Mott Center that he goes to, and we follow all of their recommendations. We don't go off the cusp. We put it in the hands of those medical professionals, and we follow what they say. Because if school is the most important thing that we've been concerned about, I've provided you a copy, everybody here, of Hunter's IEP discharge. He did IEP for 1 year in third grade. In that IEP discharge, you will find that before he went to fourth grade, after that year, that was the first full year that I was given the 50-50 week on, week off schedule. And Hunter had a regular relationship with me in school. He was off the IEP within 1 year. He read at a level of 514 with 517 being above. He was in math on level at 209. Now, this was after COVID years and all the school he missed for the so-called pandas. Okay. Now, they also go on to report that he is no longer eligible because of this for a special needs student. Then they also go on to list that Hunter was absent 14 days that school year, all of which were under mom's time. Okay. And then they listed his excuses of anxiety, refusing to get out of the car. Now, this is the IEP report signed by these professionals. Basically, what they're stating there is as soon as the half 50-50 parenting time went on and Hunter was coming to me regularly, you'll also see his grade card for that year. He soared. So then we look at the next year at his grade card and his attendance of the same 50-50 with no IEP help, him doing himself. He is doing outrageously great at school. He's getting raving reviews, yet he still missed 17 days of school that year. Now, the school year is 180 days. He didn't miss any days with me. He missed those with mom. That equates to 20% of the time that mom had him, he missed school. That equates to basically about 1 day per week. So that's third grade, that's fourth grade. Then we roll into fifth grade last year where the wheels started to fall off. I coached him in fourth grade football. I coached him in fifth grade football. October, about the second week, the wheels started falling off with Miss Simon, and he started missing school left and right. Before December, she only had him to school for 1 full week of school, and that was November 13th. Before that, I was still not getting my time with him on a regular basis, but I did not bring it to the court. Then, 3 weeks before Christmas, she proceeded to give me, and there are text messages that were provided that show she gave him to me for those 3 weeks because he was being unruly with her. I took him, no problem. He got sick. He ended up going back. He stayed with me for 2 weeks. He went back with mom for 1 week. Then he came back for the Christmas holiday. Then he went back to mom's. Then he came back to me for the New Year's to go back to school. He went to that first week of school in January. Then the wheels fell off. And he's never set foot back in a school facility since then, except for the 1 day at the beginning of this school year. He did virtual school last year, but he didn't do the program the right way where he was supposed to be on camera, supposed to be audible. Instead, he was no camera, not audible, to the point where Douglas Road Elementary School, because mother took FMLA vacation, they thought, unprovable, that she was doing the work for him because the conversations back and forth with my son, anybody knows the history, he doesn't communicate and ask questions and all that stuff. However, the teacher was getting bombarded with question after question after question after question, and the work was getting done, but nothing was done on camera. So basically what we have is a history shown by the school that when Hunter's with me on time, Lindsay's doing everything she's supposed to do, he goes to school, he soars, he does everything. However, history shows with mom, He misses school on a consistent basis. Now, is that pandas? Only when he's with mom? I don't think so. I think that's more of an underlying problem. But I'm not being given a chance to do anything. And now I'm being told that he's being forced to go to online school, which if he comes to me, I can't facilitate. I don't have my mom retired at home like she does. See, what she does is she goes to work every morning and leaves him with grandma, who then sits there and allows him to watch TV all day, so there's no punishment. She showed up to one day when she was ordered to come to court, which was that Friday. She called in that Monday and said that he was having a breakdown, wet the bed, did all that. Same day, I went to the doctor's appointment where none of that was brought up to the doctor. She did bring up that he was chewing his fingers. I asked the doctor to look at that. He did. He said there was no visible new damage to his fingers. In fact, he didn't see anything wrong. We all held our hands out and said, we all chew on our fingers. The doctor also made a comment while we were in there of how well we were all getting along. I was able to give Hunter a hug during that doctor's visit. Hunter gave me a hug. We were able to tell each other we loved each other. There was no animosity there. So this is a problem that I think we're putting on Hunter to dress up as away from things, but the facts show that when he's not with her or outside of that home, he's a completely different child that behaves in a completely different way. And we're not able to see that until we separate him from mom. And in my opinion, to do that, we have to rip the Band-Aid off. And if there's a small bleed that we have to let scab up, for me, it hurts me to do anything like that to my son. I love him very much, but I'd rather take that 5 minutes of pain and get it over with than keep dragging this out. Because right now, he was put in a mental facility by his mom, released to his mom, right back into the same equation he's been in. He's been in his ongoing circle of the same situation and same circumstance with no change. And I'm not being allowed to parent or get any change, but I'm able to prove that when I get the opportunity, it's a completely different outcome. And I encourage that we get him to me still. We don't do the online school. We force in school. We hold Ms. Simon accountable. We get him to me. And when he gets to me for a week, I don't care if we do it every day, every 3 days, we have the guardian come visit so he can see every single day of the progress. Because I know my child, and it's like I'm being told that I don't know my child. I don't have a relationship with them. He's being manipulative. He's winning right now. By granting him online school because that's what he wants, he initially wins again. So he won by not getting out of the car. He wins by not having to go to school. He'll win by having the online school. So Hunter is winning. There's no consequence for any of his actions or any accountability for anybody. And I'm sorry, but I'm being called names and being blamed and being painted as a certain way when all I want is the best for my son. And I want some doctors, not these run-of-the-mill guys that Lindsay goes and searches out, but actually some hard doctors to go through because we've done it. We've gone through the PCP. We've gone through the neurologist. We've gone through the immunologist, and we've gone through the psychiatrist, which all say pandas is not effective. All of them. And they were all court-ordered by this court, and this court refuses to acknowledge the Munchausen by proxy, which is a problem because especially in today's day and times with things that are going on, how serious this is, I'm afraid one day we might be reading another story about my son, and that's not fair to him. So I asked the court to consider all of this evidence that I just presented that shows with me getting to school, Hunter soars. Without me, he fails miserably.
All right, to Mr. Enix, all your comments are noted for the record, and the court has given you the opportunity to get Hunter to school, but he will not get in the car with you. He won't go to the doctor's appointment with you. He won't go to school with you. He won't get in your vehicle. So how do you propose that this court? All right, I'm not going to. You keep interrupting, Mr. Enix. So I'm just telling you the record reflects you were given the opportunity. You've not been able to make it work. I don't know what you're suggesting. Well, how do you suggest this court get Hunter into your home?
Well, first we have to separate him from mom. I've said that now for 5-6 years. It's been the same thing. We had to do it before.
Mr. Enix, if you as his father cannot do that, who's going to do it?
You.
I'm not going to go out to his house. And what do you want me to do?
I'm not asking you to go out to his house. I'm asking you to force mom to bring him to the courtroom, to your chambers, where you will have him. She can leave from that point. You can give him to me. It's that simple. It's been done numerous times.
The record should reflect that Miss Simon was here numerous days and Hunter would knock it out of the vehicle. Miss Patrick went out, tried talking to him, he would knock it out of the vehicle.
Miss Simon was there one day,
sat out in
sir.
the parking lot all day. So
Miss Simon was there one day, sir. She was not there every day.
okay.
And she manipulated the court and lied to you.
All right. The court's enough. Mr.
So you're going to not acknowledge your court order. I just want to make sure I know for the record.
The court satisfied she has complied with the intent of this court's order. Mr. Chappell, the court does not believe we need a psychological evaluation. We don't need the court is not going to put any weight on some report from this Hispanic organization in Columbus, Ohio. So Ms. Simon should not waste your time going back to this organization that alleged PANIS. We need an independent psychological evaluation, not a PANIS evaluation, but a psychological evaluation. The court would strongly recommend Mott's children. That's where it started. Mr. Enix, I don't know what caused that evaluation to discontinue, but that's where the court would suggest we need an independent psychological evaluation. We don't need the Dr.
Dad
Jar.
had no clue about it, sir. Dad had no clue about any of the panda stuff. You're not listening.
Anything further?
You're making false statements. No. You're putting words in my mouth.
Nothing further, Your Honor. Thank you. And we've heard the court loud and clear relative to the independent psychological exam, and we will be seeking that out.
All right. And Mr. Enix, you'll be provided with a copy of that, and then you can weigh in on that. And if you
it's in the file, sir. It's in your file right there with the evidence. It's been turned on. It says University of Michigan Medical Center at the top. She did all of that without my knowledge, sir. Everything she does for pandas is without my knowledge. I've never picked a doctor, sir. I've never had a chance to get a second opinion. You ordered everything and you refuse to stand by it.
Mother, Mr. Chappell, if you could provide the order to that effect, please.
Yes.
Finally, I'm going to set a review date. Because I want Ms. Simon to move on this so that we hopefully have maybe just a summary from reports. And what the court's thinking is in April.
So you're going to roll this out to April and keep my son from me even more.
We can't get an evaluation overnight, Mr. Enix. It's going to take him time.
Sir, do you realize how long my son has not been in any relationship with his father or his family? And you're saying that's healthy to continue? And you're going to allow Ms. Simon, who I've proven now over and over again, is failing.
Hey,
but you keep, if this was about child support, I'd be in jail.
Mr. Enix, stop.
No.
You want this court to go down and forcefully pull him out of his mother's house?
Or hold his mom in contempt. That's where we started. Do what your order says.
Okay. All right. Your comments are your suggestion noted, Mr. Enix. So it says it's review in April. I'm looking at perhaps the first week of April.
Yeah, I'll be out of town that. Well, I can have Miss Waskoviak cover it, though, Your Honor. That's fine.
It's going to the bar and Lansing anyway.
Do you think that I have no idea the wait time at Mott's Children's Hospital to get an evaluation? Maybe Miss Simon has a contact that she reached out to before they discontinued that.
Yeah, we will be looking at that as well. And I've also thought about maybe reaching out to Sparks, the behavioral services. They're up in Bloomfield Hills, Michigan.
Okay.
We've had them on another tough case, and I can see about their availability.
But again, what the court's looking for is a psychological evaluation, not a PANIS evaluation, but a psychological evaluation.
Understood, Your Honor. That's what I've used Sparks before in the past.
All right.
Can I set this up instead of them?
Present, Mr. Chappell?
I'm sorry?
Would you prefer to be present the next review? We could go the week of April 16th.
Yes, Your Honor, I would.
Okay. How about April 16th?
Anytime, Your Honor, I'll make that work.
We got 10 o'clock or 2:30, or we can do the 17th at 8:30 or 1:30. Mr. Jednick and Mr. Chappell, any preference?
Any of those work? Any of those work?
16th at 2:30, Your Honor, if we could.
All right. Mr. Enix, will that work for you, April 16th at 2:30? I'm sure you'd like it sooner.
I honestly have no say in anything, so whatever you say.
All right.
I have no rights in this court. You step all over me, so.
Mr. Chappell, you'll prepare the order?
I will, Your Honor.
So again, the order of the court is that the order of this court, January 23rd, 2024, is set aside. Mother shall immediately forthwith facilitate admission of Hunter into the virtual school. For that, mother shall initiate a psychological evaluation of Hunter, not past evaluation, but psychological evaluation. And hopefully we'll have a report when we come back. And finally, this court will review these issues April 16th, 2024, 2:30 p.m.
I have a problem with a couple things there.
Okay.
The psych evaluation, I want to make sure that I'm involved in that.
You'll be involved in that once we get a report. Then you can review that report and then you can argue to the court.
No, the problem is, sir, she goes and she lies to these doctors. They don't get all the information.
At this point in time, we don't want to obstructionists. We don't want the doctors throwing up his hands because dad's upset. You've destroyed some other medical relationships.
Sir, I've only done it to the PANDAS specialist she snuck to. I've never done it to the University of Michigan or any of his PCPs.
All right.
You're putting words in the mouth. No, you're stepping all over me, sir.
I disagree with you, Mr. Enix. If you have a problem with it,
you're not allowing me to represent myself properly. Okay. You're not. You're violating all my rights.
Call an attorney, and you can go to the Michigan Court of Appeals, Mr. Enix.
You're telling me again to get an attorney? Is that what you're telling me? You're telling me without an attorney, I have no rights?
I didn't say that at all, Mr. Enix. Stop putting words in the mouth. We're done. And please, we'll I'll zoom out.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Absolutely.
Do you want me to reduce this to writing?
Eric Chops can prepare an order.
Okay, that's fine.
Thank you. Thank you, though.
Not a problem. And then your next two, one is a pro-con, and then the next one after that is a PPO. So I'll wait and make sure you don't need anything on the pro-con, and then I'll log off, okay?
Yeah, it looks like the pro-con, everything's in order. So I think we're all set for this afternoon. You got any other suggestions? Mr. Enix was, I didn't want to go the extra step of terminating child support. He's not suggested that. So I'm just going to leave that be for right now.
Well, Mr. Enix needs to learn to control his mouth.
Yeah, he wants me to go down there and pull. I mean, really?
I understand he's frustrated. It's a tough case. I completely agree. It's a tough case.
Yeah, we've tried everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Have a good afternoon.
The parties have met with Ms. Patrick. Ms. Patrick is recommending that the court adopt Genex's report and recommendation in its entirety. I'll note those for the record. Mr. Jednek, and the court appreciates Mr. Jednek's continued involvement and time in this most difficult case. And Mr. Jednek's report consists of about 7 pages, which also concludes with defined recommendations that Hunter be allowed to continue in the Novi Virtual Academy. Hopefully summer school will be available, and if so, then the court would strongly urge that he continue in summer school if that virtual academy has such a summer school program. Secondly, that Ms. Simon be allowed to obtain a consultation with a neuropsychologist as recommended by Dr. Carr for the next course of treatment. The court would schedule a review in August of 2024 to review Hunter's progress toward not only school, but also the results of the neuropsychological evaluation. There'd be no treatment offered until the parties came back before this court, and Mr. Enix had an opportunity to review and provide input relative to any recommendation for treatment. So Ms. Simon would simply secure the evaluation at this point in time. Further, that the defendant father's parenting time may be suspended until the order of the court. Further, that neither party, neither Ms. Simon nor Mr. Enix, should be permitted to use a minor child, his name, in any social media posting that can be viewed by the general public. That is the sum and substance of Mr. Jednek's recommendations. And Mr. Chapp, will start with you and Ms. Simon first. Any objection to the court adopting those recommendations?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Has Dr. Carr provided Ms. Simon with a recommended neuropsychologist?
No referral has been made, Your Honor. So I think she's leaving it up to Ms. Simon to find a neuropsychologist who can do the work.
It seems odd that Dr. Carr should know professionals in that field. to make a recommendation rather than Miss Simon starting from scratch.
I can reach out to her again. I went through, it's called Life Stance. I went through them. They were very helpful to find somebody who did an extensive evaluation to begin with. So I can reach out to them again and see if they have anybody that they could recommend and push us through to.
Will Dr. Carr respond to you in terms of just the name of a recommendation?
She might. I can absolutely send her a message through the portal and see if that if she has anybody in mind. When I did ask her while we were speaking, and she said she didn't have anybody. She definitely said that I should. She didn't have anybody necessarily in mind, but she said that whoever we go to, should have some kind of knowledge of this illness so they can either rule it out or send us to the right doctor.
Right. We should not be presuming any illness.
No, she was just,
again, she's a psychologist or she should probably recommend a neuropsychologist. It would just stand to reason to the court. So reach out to her and ask her for a specific recommendation of a neuropsychologist since she's recommending that such a professional. If not, going to the University of Michigan website. I'm sure the primary care, the pediatrician at the local, let's see, not the Bedford, or Family Medical Center. They should probably give you a referral to University of Michigan and pick a neuropsychologist. So please reach out without delay to not only Dr. Carr, but I don't know what this life science or life health is about, but I would suggest reach out to the pediatrician for a recommendation as well as Dr. Carr. So you can proceed with that.
Okay.
All right. So last Ms. Simon, do you know, does this virtual academy, do they have an offer, a summer school?
I'm not sure if they have a summer school, but I will ask them. I'm not sure. I don't know where they are at on the determination of whether he will be able to pass or we will have to do the summer school portion of it. I'll email them probably today or tomorrow and ask them if they have something. If not, I will get him enrolled in some kind of program.
It would appear to the court to benefit Hunter if he were in a summer school program, whether it's through that program or another one. Hopefully he can continue with some of the same teachers. All right, Mr. Enix.
Yes, sir.
Do you have any objection to the court adopting Mr. Jednick's recommendations?
I object to the whole thing except for keeping him in online school for the remainder of the school year.
All right. Mr. Jednick, is there anything you wish to add?
Oh, well, do I get to explain?
How about you let Mr. Enix explain? I'll be happy to respond if there's anything the court wants me to clarify.
Well, it's clear Hunter will not go to school, so it seems like the only alternative is a virtual school, and he does seem to be at least making some progress. He's engaging significantly more than he has been in the past. We've tried every alternative in the past. Dad taking
I agree with the online school for the remainder of the school year.
So the virtual school seems to be the most appropriate avenue in his best interest at this point in time.
I don't disagree with that right now.
Okay.
I disagree with the rest of the order.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right,
Ms. Simon has been. Well, I would like to explain why. Do I get to explain why? Is my question.
Okay. Well, I respect you're opposed to everything, but you got to offer some solutions, some positive solution, Mr. Enix, rather than just saying no, I object to it.
Well, let me offer the positive solution here then, because in my exhibits A through H in your folder there, you'll find I've submitted over this whole time. Hunter has none of these problems when he's with me. The only difference is the environment. When he's in Miss Simon's environment, he doesn't go to school. He doesn't do anything. He doesn't come to me. He doesn't do what he's supposed to do. We get him away from there, and he soars. He does fantastic. But over the last year now, Miss Simon has had full control. Hunter has not made any progress. I have not been given an opportunity of any parenting, anything. I have not been given an opportunity to get him to these doctor's appointments, to make doctor's appointments, to ensure anything be done. Hunter's assessment with Ms. Carr. Now, I spoke to Ms. Carr's office. They were not given any background, anything as far as who he's seen or anything like that, except for the pandas. So it was brought up, that pandas was brought up. So there's that. Secondly, she is not making a recommendation for a neuropsych doctor. She told him that. It's in the paperwork. It's in the documents. There.
Okay, where Mr. Enix? I did not see that.
It should be in the report.
That's what she was recommending.
the report. It shows no recommendation.
Mr. Jednick, do you see something the court has not seen?
It says no recommendation. So I called and spoke to Ms. Carr's office. Okay.
I
blocked.
want to answer the court's question. One of my exhibits is a back and forth between Miss Simon and Dr. Carr, Life Stands Health, on the portal message where she says, specifies that he should be evaluated by a neuropsychiatrist. I don't know what was missed.
Yeah, he should be evaluated. She's not making a recommendation.
What's the
She's
difference
not
between
referring.
he should be evaluated versus I recommend he be evaluated? I don't understand your vernacular, Mr. Enix.
My vernacular is she is not referring anyone. His appointment was on the 13th of March. We are now on April 16th, and we still don't have an appointment made. It's April 16th. We're a full month removed. We took 3 weeks to get him enrolled in school.
Mr. Enix, the court agrees
Yes.
she would not recommend a specific neuropsychologist. Hopefully she will. She simply make a recommendation to be evaluated
She
by
will
a
not.
neuropsychologist.
She will not make a recommendation, is what I was told by her office.
Okay. All right, continue, Mr. Enix.
So there will be no recommendation made there. Here's my question. Why are we not going to the University of Michigan Medical Center that's right in our backyard, that's versed in all these things? They're one of the top leading medical facilities in the whole United States. And
Yes,
we're
the court just
fortunate.
suggested that to Miss Simon.
And
Ms.
she took
Simon,
no
do you need a court
stance.
order to that effect, Mr. Chappell, that she make this appointment with somebody at the University of Michigan rather than some life science center?
I would appreciate that myself, sir.
The court ordered that be through University of Michigan. There's a top medical center. I'm sure they've got a number of neuropsychologists on staff. Any reason why the court should not be very specific?
I went through
Mr. Jednick?
several things. That's how I got to Dr. Carr. I wanted the best. That's how I got there. University of Michigan did not help us in the past, and they sent us on our way. That is why I did not go there.
Sir, University of Medical Center actually referred her to psychiatric treatment for Hunter the first time she went there for pandas, and she never went back. She never went back.
The court's going to allow Ms. Simon to make that decision, Mr. Enix. I
That's
don't have
fine.
to argue with this all afternoon. The court is strongly recommending it. The order will say that the court is strongly recommending that she make an appointment with the University of Michigan.
Why
Ms.
can't we
Simon,
make
so
it an order?
You need to show me that there's no one at the University of Michigan that is capable or that has the qualifications to provide this service.
But he was already recommended to the Mott Center, sir. He was already recommended to the Mott Center around. They told her no to pandas, and she's never been back. When she says they didn't help her the first time, it's because they didn't give her the pandas diagnosis and told her to go to psychiatric treatment. And they've also been on the Munchausen by proxy train with everybody else. And it's not me making that up. It's these doctors. Okay, and the only thing that hasn't changed for Hunter in this whole year that everything's clashed since she gave him to me 3 weeks before Christmas, before the wheels fell off, is she's been in total control and he's been in that environment. We haven't had an environment change where anyone can see what he's like outside of that environment. We're going off hearsay, and there's no evidence to back it up that he should not be with me when I've proven in black and white that he does not. No one's asked Miss Simon to explain why none of these problems happen while he's with dad and only happen in her home. He has impeccable school history with me. He doesn't have these problems. He's missed 20% of his 4th grade year with mom, and he missed all of it basically last year. And I'm the one who keeps getting punished while my son is sitting in the same environment, same situation. She put him in the Kobacher Center, who also agrees nothing is wrong with him except for generalized anxiety, except for when he's with his mom and she's speaking for him. Children's Services was called yet again on me, had to disregard that just now over social media posts. I'm sorry, I have a First Amendment right to post my son's name on social media if I want to. And
Sir,
it was a closed group.
Mr. Enix, hold on right there. Court disagrees. You can post something about your son. Do not use his first name. You can talk about your son, but do not reference his name, Hunter. You understand that? It's an order of this court. If you do that, Mr. Enix, you're going to be in contempt of the court. You understand that?
Just like Miss Simon, right?
You do not have an absolute First Amendment right to make comments about
I have a First Amendment right. You don't have a First Amendment right to censor me, but that's okay.
It's noted. If he makes any public comments about using Hunter's name, then bring it to the court's attention, and the court will deal with Mr. Enix. So the court respectfully disagrees with you, Mr. Enix.
Just like all the other orders.
First Amendment right.
I'm just your orders. It doesn't really matter. So,
Mr. Jednick, anything further?
I'm asking the court to adopt these recommendations. We need to see what's going on with Hunter. I would love Hunter to just go to Dad's house, follow the orders. We can't get that to happen. We tried all these antics in December and January, which ended up being ludicrous and ridiculous, and frankly put Hunter back in his mental health. I would love to get Hunter to the place to go to Dad's, but we're not there. We need to figure out what the problem is. I have this recommendation that he follow up with a neuropsychiatrist. Or the psychologist, excuse me. We need to do that. We need to get to the bottom of this.
What's the date? What's the date? You've had since the 13th of March. What's the date?
The last ordered a psychological evaluation, not a neuropsych.
That was done on the 13th of March.
Mr. Enix, you would have objected to it until it was ordered. I know your history on these joint legal medical issues. So she couldn't have done it until we came back, and you know that. Thank you.
No, I don't. You waited 3 weeks to enroll him in online school. You're not getting the stuff done on time. What's it going to take? Is my son going to have to die in her home before you do something? Is that what it's going to take? Because that's where we're at right now.
The court would know.
That's where we're at. You're judging me on my reaction. I stepped away from my son for a year. Shame on you all.
We included suspending mom's parenting time so that dad would have exclusive time with his son. That did not work. Hunter would not get out of the vehicle, would not go to his dad, didn't want to talk to him. The court has tried every option, and the court has run all these options. That's why this child needs to be evaluated by a neuropsychologist. If you're going to prepare the order, Mr. Chappell, the court will in fact adopt all of the JL Gen X recommendations with respect to the neuropsychologist. The court's recommendation that be a University of Michigan neuropsychologist, not some through Life Science Agency or whatever that she got Dr. Carr's name from. Certainly reach out to Dr. Carr. I'm surprised and really missing. Simon, you can move on these matters. If in fact you should have followed up the recommendation from Mr. Chappell's assistants, get the recommendation from her directly. It could have been done a month ago. We could have moving forward in this direction. So please secure that evaluation. Mr. Enix, once again, you shall not mention your son's name on social media. You can mention your son, you got First Amendment, but do not mention his name, his first name, to identify him to the public. Hunter will continue enrollment in their nearby virtual academy, and the court will review this matter. We have a date of either August 6th or August 7th. Mr. Jadnek, Mr. Chappell, Mr. Enix, is any preference to August 6th or 7th? Is it Tuesday or Wednesday?
Doesn't matter.
The 7th, Your Honor.
I'm sorry, Mr.
7th
Chappell.
works for me.
August 7th.
Okay, we have either 8:30 or 1:30.
Give preference.
1:30.
1:30, please, Your Honor.
Okay, all right. Ms. Patrick, can you please add this to your recommendation? Or two things to the recommendation, please.
Can I also have this emailed to me immediately so that I can get the appeals process started in Lansing?
If I don't know if Ms. Patrick or Mr. Chappell can do that. Ms. Patrick, can you simply add to this recommendation that the court recommends the neuropsychologist to be on staff at the University of Michigan? And secondly, that the court will review these matters on August 7th at 1:30 p.m.
Yes, Your Honor. I'm sorry, August 7th at what time, Your Honor?
1:30 p.m. via Zoom. So the court is adopting the entirety of JL Gen X recommendations with the request of the court that the neuropsychologist be affiliated with the University of Michigan Medical Facility. But do reach out to Dr.
Will I be able to have medical witnesses join us on that day, sir?
Respond to you. So make that inquiry of Dr. Carr. I'm surprised she would not have a recommendation of a specific neuropsychologist. Having done an initial preliminary evaluation of Hunter. All right, is there anything further than this afternoon, Mr. Chappell?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Enix?
Well, I'm just, we're going to August 7th. I'm just real confused on why we're going that far out, but my son's losing right now. Like I said, what's it going to take? Am I going to have to get a call in the middle of the night that my son took his life or something before we do something? That's just my fear. So we'll continue this. I mean, who loses? It's Hunter.
Well, Mr. Hunter, at least Hunter's getting an education now. He was not doing that before.
Is he? Because Ms. Simon's taking off work every day and he's not on camera, just like last year, and he's not cooperating, and his language that he uses with the teachers, not at all how my son speaks. If he's this anxious and all of that, he's not using sentences and communication like he is with the school right now, and Ms. Simon's taking off work every single day in there. So just like last year, it's the same thing. And if he passes this year without summer school or anything, we're going to have even more legal problems. So my son is not going to be fed to the wolves to fail in life because nobody wants to take charge and actually help my son. So that's where I'm at with it. And I just, if it's not done at Michigan, University of Michigan, what are we doing? That's where I'm at. We've had a month to do it. It took them 3 weeks to get them enrolled in school. And there's no urgency with these folks. And you know, I could have had him in a psychiatrist. I had it all scheduled. I've had everything done, and she refuses to go to anything. So we're going to come back in August. It's going to be the same thing. And then what? We're going to go, how do we separate Hunter from mom? And we're going to keep doing this. And I don't know why. We're going to keep doing this until the court actually does something. So until then, I'll see you on August 7th at 1:30 while I have no contact with my son. And the fact that the court thinks it's acceptable that I don't get a letter, an email, a phone call, or any kind of contact with my child over this time, I find to be very disturbing. That's it.
If the court's memory is correct, a number of medical professionals in the past have refused to treat Hunter because of Mr. Enix's inappropriate
That's
involvement.
Completely false. That's completely false. The only ones who did were the ones at the clinic where the doctor touches little kids. That's the only one. That's it.
All right. Mr. Jednick, anything further?
I'm sure there's a lot I could say, but I'll leave it at that. The delay to the enrollment in school was due to the order not being prepared, and they would not do it without the order because of Mr. Enix's constant contact and harassment of school officials being upset about the switch to virtual. I omitted that from the report, but if you wanted to go there, that's fine. But I'm asking the court to adopt the recommendations. I want him to be a player in his son's education and medical, not a barrier. He needs to stop being
I'm not a barrier. I'm the only player. I'm the only one who gets him to school. But also,
it's noted, Mr.
At the same time, he's not getting what he needs, and you're facilitating it.
Mr. Chappell, if your client has an evaluation by neuropsychologist, could you please bring it to the court's attention, Mr. Jednick's attention? We'll move this matter up. We don't need to wait till August.
I will, Your Honor.
Yeah, I think, and I agree with the court agrees with Mr. Enix, we need to move on this matter. It's unfortunate that there was a delay in getting him, the order was being submitted to the court for entry. This court does not sit on orders, so we enter orders as soon as we receive them. So if in fact that's that evaluation, if we can move on that quickly, and when it's done, we don't need to wait till August 7th to review that. Bring it to Mr. Jednick's attention and let the court know we'll move this up. We promise you, Mr. Enix.
For an administrative fashion, Your Honor, are you signing the recommendation, or do I need to prepare a separate order?
Let me look at it.
Please request that he is not involved. Please request that he is not involved.
I'm just real confused on why Ms. Simon couldn't contact the court to get that order before 3 weeks to get him enrolled in school before. Seems like another excuse to me because I've called the court and gotten that order emailed to me so that I can have stuff done right away. So let's not make excuses on that. Let's get the job done. That's all I want to see. Show me some urgency.
Right.
Show me some urgency.
Patrick still has to modify the order, Mr. Chappell. So I presume if in fact those additional things are added, the court will sign it. Otherwise, you can prepare an order.
All right, I'll give it a day, Your Honor, and if not, I'll get something in on the 7-day rule.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. And Ms. Patrick, if you can just add the court's requests, the preference that the evaluation, the neuropsychologist be affiliated with the University of Michigan Medical School, and also the court to review this matter on August 7th at 1:30, if not sooner.
So will I not know anything again until the day before? Because I didn't get any knowledge of this Dr. Carr until yesterday. I mean, it's imperative. I'd like to be able to let doctors look over everything as well. So that way, when I come to court, I know what I'm talking about.
Right. So, Mr. Chappell, if you can provide that to once your client gets that evaluation, if you could probably send it to Mr. Enix and Mr. Jednick for the review as well to the court. The court appreciate that.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, that will conclude this matter.
Thank you.
It should be in your queue, Your Honor, but let me double check. I will email that to him, so, Your Honor. I'll email it to all parties.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.